Captain Redundancy sat silently in his large, enormous, huge chair, staring at the empty, vacant, deserted wall in front of him. He was nervous, but not really nervous, more like scared, but not exactly scared either. He had never felt such a conflicting, confusing, contradictory emotion before, though he always felt emotions like this. "I must go on my quest to the mountain," Captain Redundancy declared loudly, even though there was nobody around to hear him. Yes, the mountain. The tallest mountain in the world, or maybe just a hill, but definitely a mountain. My mission is clear. Without thinking twice, he thought twice. Then suddenly, without warning, he started moving slowly, very slowly toward the door, but then he stopped. "No, wait, I should pack some supplies," he said to himself. But instead of packing, he sat back down and continued staring at the empty wall. As he sat there, his trusted companion, Fluffy the fierce lion, walked into the room, except Fluffy wasn't a lion at all. He was actually a tiny, harmless hamster. Captain Fluffy squeaked loudly, even though hamsters don't usually talk. "We must hurry, the mountain is melting. Or is it freezing? Either way, we're out of time." Captain Redundancy stood up again, and this time, without warning, slowly walked toward the door. "The time has come, and not a moment too soon," he muttered, though it was hard to know what he meant since there was no clear reason for urgency. Fluffy continued to squeak. "The ice, the fire, the wind, all three at once. We must get to the banana plantation before it's too late." Captain Redundancy nodded, not understanding a word. "Indeed, the banana plantation holds the key," he declared, even though bananas had never been mentioned before in the story. On their way to the mountain, no, the banana plantation, Captain Redundancy suddenly realized something. "Wait, I forgot my sword," he said, but then remembering that he had never owned a sword, he shrugged and kept walking. At last, they arrived at a wide river. Though it wasn't a river, it was more of a lake, but Captain Redundancy called it a river anyway. "We must cross this river," he declared, staring at the waterless surface of the dry lake. "But how?" Fluffy the hamster lion squeaked again. "We swim, or maybe we fly. It's hard to know for sure." Just as Captain Redundancy prepared to dive into the dry, waterless river lake, he suddenly remembered that he couldn't swim, nor could Fluffy. "Wait," he said, "we should build a boat." So they built a boat. But instead of sailing, they stood next to it for several hours, not saying a word. "This boat is perfect for our journey," Captain Redundancy finally said, even though they never used it, and instead walked away, leaving it behind. As they reached the base of the mountain, which had now turned into a volcano for no apparent reason, Fluffy sighed. "It's over, Captain," he said, looking at the sky, which was pink and filled with talking butterflies. "We've run out of time." Captain Redundancy shook his head. "No, we still have the key." But when he looked down, there was no key, because there had never been a key. "Oh well," Captain Redundancy said, "we tried." Then, without warning, the mountain volcano lake river turned into a sandwich, and Captain Redundancy ate it, and that was the end, or something very much resembling one.